What is the fastest way to become an RX athlete? Doing the workouts as RX is a goal for many people who CrossFit, and I think it's a good goal. It shows that you are pretty well-rounded in your fitness. You have a pretty substantial level of strength, and because of that, people try to RX things because they want that ego boost of, yeah, I RX'd it, which is great. Every now and then, if there's a workout that you can RX, go for it. However, in the long run, the fastest way to be a consistent RX athlete is actually to scale. So RX comes from, if you didn't know this, when a doctor writes a note, a prescription, the abbreviation of that is RX, as prescribed. So that's where that came from. Being an RX athlete, it's really just sort of an ego boost. So why do we even do RX? Why do we even have recommended weights, prescribed weights for a workout? It's not to benchmark people and to say these people are good enough and these people are not. It's not to say that if you don't do RX, you're not fit, you're not an athlete, you're not as good. Like, there's no, it has become that because of the athlete's perception of it. However, from my perspective, I use the prescribed weights, the RX, to dictate what the intended stimulus of the workout should be. Whenever I program, I have this hypothetical athlete in my mind. Someone who is fit, strong, fast, like in no single category are they excessively outside of the realm. Like, they're not an Olympic sprinter, they're not an Olympic weightlifter, they're not a strongman, they're just kind of this blend of everything. So they're kind of medium, maybe just above medium in sort of all of those categories. Like, if this hypothetical athlete, if they were to go do like a high school track event, they'd probably get their butt kicked. Use myself for example. I do most every workout RX'd, and sometimes I probably shouldn't, but anyways, I can do most workouts RX'd. But if I did a high school track meet of any distance, I would get smoked. If I were to go to a junior weightlifting meet, not even like a national level, just a regular level, if I were to do a junior weightlifting meet, probably especially if I was my own weight class, but even at a lower weight class, I would not be in contention for medaling, okay? So being an RX athlete isn't this like godly status. It's just sort of saying, hey, for this workout, for this hypothetical sort of middle of the road athlete at all these sorts of things, this is the intended stimulus. So heavier weights, it just means that it should feel heavy for you. Lighter weight, it should feel light for you. So many people get caught up in going RX, and this is mostly when it comes to things that have weights, right? If you are so caught up in going RX, you're actually going to hinder your progress because you're not going to get the intended stimulus of the workout. So what we're looking to do is get results, okay? Results come from intensity, appropriate intensity. And every workout's going to have varying intensity levels, right? But we want it to be as high as possible. Intensity comes from power output. Power output, the equation for that is force times distance over time. So with time being the denominator, the longer a workout takes, exponentially, the lower the power output. So if you, as an athlete, choose to go heavier because it's closer to RX, and therefore it makes your workout take twice as long, you are actually derailing your progress. Sure, you got close to doing it RX, awesome, good for you, you missed the point. You're not a bad person if you want to be RX, but the fastest way to do it is to progressively build yourself up over time. So stay within the parameters of what the prescribed workout has intended for its stimulus. The next time you do that movement, it may not be the exact same workout, but that movement with that sort of stimulus, maybe you try and go a little bit heavier, or you stay at the same weight and you try and go a little bit faster. Instead of doing 3 at a time, you go for 5 at a time, things like that. Let's do it as simple of a workout as possible. Karen. Karen is one of the named workouts in CrossFit. It is 150 wall balls for time. The RX weight, the prescribed weight, is a 20-pound medicine ball for men, a 14-pound medicine ball for women. Now, this is a movement that is fairly accessible. All you have to do is squat, stand, and toss the ball up and hit the target. The best athletes in the world can do Karen unbroken, 150 in a row, and they will get somewhere between 4.5 minutes to 5 minutes. I have done it once before. It is absolutely terrible. So 5 minutes, let's say, 5 minutes is the absolute, if you're doing Karen in 5 minutes straight, and that comes out to 30 wall balls a minute, you are pretty good at wall balls. You're a pretty elite CrossFitter, all right? So on the slow end of that, I would say it would be 15 minutes. Now that's a pretty big range. So we're gonna kind of narrow that down just a little bit. I would say the intended range would be about 8 to 12 minutes. 8 minutes, again, you're pretty fit. So I'm gonna do a little bit of math here because I'm not confident enough to do this in my head. So that would be just shy of 19 wall balls a minute. So 20 wall balls a minute. I would say, yeah, for the average athlete, 20 wall balls a minute with a 20-pound medicine ball is a pretty good benchmark. So if you're going under 8 minutes in Karen, you're a pretty good athlete. All right. Now, on the flip side, what did I say? 12. That's 12 and a half wall balls per minute. So about 12 to 13 per minute. Okay. So using that as the example, you know, people, because like a slightly heavier medicine ball or 20 pounds or 14 pounds, whatever, is kind of close, and they like, I could do it. Then they start out, they do 15 or 20 wall balls in the first minute, but then they're just like gassed because they can't actually sustain that pace for the full workout. And suddenly a 8 to 12 minute workout is now taking 15 to 20 minutes. You've missed the point. Your power output has dramatically decreased because your time has exponentially increased. Your intensity has gone down. Now it sucks, it feels hard, but measurable relative intensity has gone down, and therefore your results are not as good as they could have been. So I'm not saying it was a worthless workout and you got no value out of it. All I'm saying is you're not getting the most out of that workout. When it comes to becoming an RX athlete, doing those weights on a consistent basis, modify for yourself based on how it feels. As a general rule of thumb, I would say err on the lighter side. I would rather have you go faster than the intended window, and make note of that, and then the next time we know to bump you up than to go too heavy and have it take way too long. Because if you go a lot faster, your power output is going to be a lot higher, and therefore your intensity will be a little bit higher and your results will be a little bit better from that, okay? So, and there is the other extreme. So if I were to do this workout without with a 10-pound medicine ball, my total power output would be a lot less because I halved the load that I'm using, and therefore it's not going to be as challenging for me. So there is kind of that other end of it, but that's less likely to happen because most people are trying to go up to that RX level. All right, so that is my rant on RX versus scaling, what you should be doing. Hopefully that made sense. If you have a certain topic that you want me to cover, put it in the comments, click subscribe so you don't miss any of these videos, and I'll see you for the next one.